everybody. Welcome to REVAMP, Revelations of an Autism Mom Professional. I'm Tabitha, your 24-hour online personal parent support professional, and I'm here for you. Now, today I want to teach you how to deal with rude, inconsiderate, and totally disrespectful people who have no clue about autism or the behavior challenges that we parents face. Yet they have an incredible amount of knowledge and input when it comes to telling us how to manage our autistic child's behavior. Really? You know the kind I'm talking about. If you want to learn how to manage these ill-mannered adults, you know what to do. Follow me and let's go. Welcome to REVAMP, Revelations of an Autism Mom Professional, where I'm taking a fresh new look at autism. Now, before we get started, this is a call for action, guys. If you like my videos and you enjoy my content, please take a moment to stop right now. Hit that subscribe button. That is the only way that I will know that you enjoy my videos and my content, and the only way that YouTube will know that I'm worthy to be sitting in front of you right now. So I know you guys are watching because I see the views, but I need to have subscribers. So please take that moment, hit subscribe, support me, and I am there for you. Now that we got that out the way, let's deal with these rude people. So guys, we have all just about been there in the grocery store with our wonderful nonverbal autistic child who's giving a stellar performance of his absolute worst behavior ever. He's on the floor, he's kicking and screaming and having a tantrum because he can't have his way, and he's actually mopping the floor with his church clothes that you, by the way, didn't actually even get to go to church because he didn't want to walk in with the crowd, and you're walking him around the parking lot the whole time. Oh, but wait. What about the mom who comes in with the verbal autistic child and he can't have his way and he's just beating his mom up, punching her? I hate you, you're mean, you don't buy me candy, I want candy. And then to make it even better, it's a Sunday afternoon, early afternoon. Church just got out and all the older ladies in their Sunday suits and crisp fancy hats are all in the checkout line, and they see these children running around. One is beating his mom up and screaming, I hate you, and the other one's on the floor screaming and yelling, ah! Oh my God, they're like devastated. Huh, this is an outrage. She's not fit to be a mother. Huh, how dare she allow that child to talk to her in that tone? She should have kept him home. How could this be? Huh. He needs a good whooping. Really? This kid actually was having a pretty good day, according to his mom, because he was capable of tearing that whole store apart. Oh, but wait, it gets better. I remember when my son was about 11 years old and we went to Target. And I told him, I said, hey, look, when we go in the store, we are only going in there for one thing and we're leaving. I'm not buying anything else. Okay, Mommy. Sure, Mommy. Yeah. Got in the store, he starts jumping up and down, up and down, up and down, as high as he could. I want an iPhone 6 now! iPhone 6! iPhone 6! Now! Really? Oh my gosh. But wait, it gets even better. What about when you're at that restaurant and your child is under the table, banging, making noise, and making bird sounds? But wait, what about that child who actually starts collecting all the napkins off the tables and the silverware so he can go underneath their table and build a fort? Now that's a little bit over the top. That kind of makes my child look good. But yeah. Well, the thing is, sometimes we have to choose our battles as parents. And it's easier said than done. A lot of people on the outside look in and they see this scenario that looks horrific to them because it's not the norm. It's not what they're used to. But in actuality, autism is not the norm. And parents are experiencing different things with different children on the spectrum. And to know what's considered to be the norm for them is not to know what the norm is, because there is no norm. There's no typical child. in autism. No two children are the same, and it's not a one-size-fits-all diagnosis. I'm actually doing everything I can to help my child to be a productive member in society. But it's hard to do that when you're constantly being blamed and there's condescending tones. So I remember one particular day when both of the kids had doctor's appointments. My son was about 5 and my daughter was not in school yet, so he didn't go to school that day. So after their doctor's appointments, I took them out to lunch and we all went out for a nice family lunch and we had a great time. Now, it was midweek, so it wasn't that busy, and it was also about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was no crowd inside the restaurant. There were about 5 families in the restaurant total. So it was a buffet style. So we got our food and we got a nice sized table. We put everything on the table and we just kind of ate. Now, there was a couple that came in after us. And this couple that came in after us, they got their food and they chose to sit maybe about 3 tables away from us, which was about maybe 10 feet away. It wasn't very far. Now, keep in mind, I have 2 small children and my son is autistic and he is doing his own thing. You know, he's like, after he's finished eating, he's really ready to go and getting kind of anxious, but he was being pretty considerate that day. And he decided to just go under the table and just kind of play under the table. And he was making some noise and, you know, just making some banging sounds. And it could have been, you know, kind of annoying, I'm sure, but it was only 5 people in the restaurant. And there was like an area in the back where this whole restaurant curved around. So if my children were an annoyance to anyone, it was very simple and easy for them to go and get any seat in the restaurant that they wanted that didn't have to be near us. So this couple chose to stay there. And during the whole time we were sitting there, this couple would stare at us and kept turning around and kept making faces, and their nonverbal communication was just like over the top. I mean, I was really getting frustrated and wanted to get up and say something, but you know, my mom is very angelic, so she was like, no, I'll handle it. And I'm like, what are you gonna do? I mean, you know, they're giving us snide remarks and, you know, saying little things under their breath and things like that. It's like I was just really getting frustrated because, you know, being an autism mom and dealing with all of this so many times, it's like you can only take so much of it. But I was cool. I maintained my composure. I didn't say anything to them, but I sure wanted to. So as we were about to leave, I marched past them, looked at them, and just kind of like kept going. But I didn't say anything. Now, my mom, on the other hand, she stopped by their table and she pulled out this card. Now, I had never seen the card before, but she pulled out this card that someone had actually given her. And she gave them the card. Now, this is the card. I still have this card. It's the card. And the card says, my child is not ill-behaved. My child has autism. To learn more about autism, go to this website or call this number. When she gave them the card, the couple turned extremely red. And they both were like, I don't know if they were embarrassed or what, but I know the girl, the lady, she came out and said, oh, it's okay. I totally understand. I work with children with autism, so I understand. She was not looking at me like she understood. And honestly, I was so glad she wasn't working with my child because she was very disrespectful. The way she was looking at us, the way she kept turning around and making me feel like I didn't even want to be in my own skin. Now, her husband or boyfriend or whoever he was, he kept turning around and just like staring and just like in disgust. And the reality is, you know, my son wasn't that bad. He really wasn't, because there have been days that he was so much worse. So they didn't even get a glimpse of the bad behavior. But from the outside looking in, that little piece of what they saw was too much for them. And that's what we deal with in reality. And it gets to a point where you just want to say, stop it. Just stop it. Because it's not fair for autism moms and dads to feel left out or like they're not included or in society because of their child's behavior. The child didn't ask to be born that way. I mean, and the reality is you have to bring your child out in these social settings because how else will they learn? So yeah, we bring our children out in social settings because then one day they will be able to be in a socially acceptable environment. And until then, it's going to require patience and understanding from people. So that was really interesting how my mom handled that because I had never seen a card like that. And the thing is, she really didn't have to say a word, but she chose to. And she gave them the card, and they were very receptive to it. And the fact that they were receptive made them kind of think about their own actions and made them really kind of try to be apologetic. For me, it was a little too late because I'm like, you shouldn't have done it anyway. It was an outreach and an opportunity to teach someone about autism. And that is key because when we are in situations like that, that's a teaching moment. You want to take advantage of your teaching moment because if you don't, what happens when that person leaves out the door, they will turn around without that knowledge of ever knowing about autism, and they'll do it to someone else. And that person may not be just quite as nice as we were by pretty much walking away and just giving them a card. They might get punched in the face. So I'm not advocating violence in any way, but that's how it kind of makes you feel. So I want to go through some steps that parents with children with autism, and I mean any parent really can try depending on the situation that you're in. Now, if you're in a situation with your child and you know that this child is off the chain, then you try to get the child under control and you can't, then, I understand when you have to leave a setting. But if your child is really not that bad and you know that that child is not that bad, then you should not have to explain yourself, and you really never should have to explain yourself to anyone. But some parents feel compelled to apologize for their child's behavior when this is not something that they can actually prevent. It's more maybe of a sensory issue where the child is having difficulty adjusting to the environment that society has set as the norm. When inside of their own world, they're trying to cope with their own world and trying to fit into society's mold, which is very frustrating for an autistic child. Very frustrating. So, on that note, I want you to remember the words, stop it. Stop it. Now, just know that parents who are living with autism, children with autism, have to work double. You have to work harder to get your child on the right track than a typical child. So just remember, parents with autism work double. So when you think of the word stop it, think double letters for everything. Stop, SSTTOOPPIITT. Stop it. So I'm going to give you some mnemonics to keep in mind when you are about to approach or deal with a situation that you do not find to be very pleasant because it's a situation where your credibility as a parent may be put on the line in front of a lot of people in the store. She's not fit to be a mother. She doesn't know how to control her child. Her child deserves a spanking. No one has a right to discipline your child except you. And more so, an autistic child, because mothers and fathers of autistic children know their child better than anyone. They know what strategies will work and what strategies will not. Some parents are still figuring it out, but for the most part, they have a general idea because they live with the child. Now, we're talking about people on the outside looking in who have no children with autism, who have no idea what it's like to even live with a child with autism. They might know a friend of a friend of a friend who has a child with autism, but that's as close as it gets for them. So the reality is, really, can we truly blame them? Because they really don't know. So at the most, or rather at the least, that we can do for them is to educate them. And that's what I'm going to teach you to do. But there's an approach. So just stick with me. So I'm going to give you some mnemonics to remember, just in case you're ever in that situation where you're dealing with someone who's rude, inconsiderate, disrespectful, and just ignorant of autism. That is a teaching moment. Now, it depends on the situation whether you're able to do this or not. I mean, you're not stopping to give a lecture on autism, but you do need to make sure that that person knows, look, my child is not just acting out just because, and I'm not just ignoring it, and I'm not a bad mother. So the first mnemonic letter is going to be the letter S, which is going to be stop. Stop. Exactly what the word is. Stop what you're doing, and you're going to take a deep breath. And the reason that's important is because many of us act off of emotions and we just react to a situation. So if someone is being rude, inconsiderate, and condescending, then it's so easy to just react to that. But the problem is, sometimes when we just react out of emotion, there can be significant consequences to that. And we don't want to go there because we don't know what we're dealing with, what type of person we're dealing with. So it's better to just stop, take a deep breath, and the next S is going to be one that you're totally not going to probably agree with me, but it's a must. You're going to have to turn your frown upside down and smile. Force yourself to smile. You just be like, hey, look, I can't believe this lady just called me out, said I'm not fit for a mother. Smile, because that's important. If you don't smile, what happens is your emotions are already out of whack. It's showing all over your face and in your body language. And if you don't put it in check, you're going to still have more emotions and it's going to make you more upset. And you're not going to be someone who is receptive. Your goal is to give that person that card. And in order for them to receive it, they're not going to want to take it from someone who's like looking at them like they want to punch them in their face, you know. So you've got to turn that frown upside down for the sake of the teaching moment only. And I'm not saying that you're not going to be upset inside or it's going to change how you feel about this person and what they said, but for the moment, make it a smile, because that change and transition in your demeanor at that time will actually kind of help you to proceed through the rest of the mnemonics. And it's going to be actually a lot better for you to be more receptive to that person, okay? Because you do want them to learn. Your next letter is going to be your T. You want to think. And when I say think, you want to think about your child. Actions speak louder than words. Think before you speak. I am a big advocate on thinking twice and speaking once, because once you say the words out of your mouth, you can't take them back. So think twice about what you want to say before it exits your mouth. Because if you are one of those type of people who you go off immediately and your child is watching you, actions speak louder than words. Your child is watching you. You're a role model. This child is watching you get upset with someone because they called you an unfit mother because you were allowing your child to have a tantrum. Children are very manipulative, and autistic children are very smart, and they can be very manipulative too. So the tone that you set in that reaction is going to be the tone that you set for future reactions. Your child is watching you. You are a role model. They will manipulate you. Mommy stuck up for me the last time, so I can act like this again. And she'll just stick up for me again. Watch what you say. Watch what you do around your children. They are watching you. Your next T is going to be recognize that this is a teaching moment. Don't lose this opportunity. You don't want it to be a long, drawn-out process. You're not sitting there talking to someone and teaching them about autism. It's giving them this card, which is going to say everything it needs to say for you. You really don't have to say a word. But you want to be able to recognize this is a teaching moment at that moment, and don't lose focus of the mnemonics, because you need to get to the end. Sometimes you can't get past the stop part, that last P, but if you can, keep it moving. Your next letter that you want to look at is going to be your O. You want to observe your surroundings. And that's important because you need to make sure your child is in a safe place. Is your child behavioral? Are you in an aisle where there's a lot of glass and your child just might throw something or hurt themselves? Be sure your surroundings are safe. And if they're not, make sure you get yourself into a safer aisle or a safer environment. The next O is going to be organizing your thoughts. And this is really key because you have to think fast in these situations. You know, no one expects to be told you're an unfit mother. That hits you like boom. It throws everything in your mind and your balance off. So you have to reorganize, get your thoughts organized again. Where are you in this place in time? Okay, I'm okay. They said this, I didn't like it, but I'm okay with that, and I'm going to keep my smile, and I know the plan is to give them this card, okay? So organize your thoughts, and then stay focused and keep it moving. The next step is going to be to prioritize. You have to prioritize. Is this a situation that you need to choose your battles with your child? Is this a situation where I really need to leave? Is this a situation where my child is just acting like he normally acts? Prioritize what the situation is. And if this is a situation where you need to leave, then that's where you need to stop. Your P is where you stop. There's nothing else beyond that point. You need to go. But you make sure, hey, you give them that card before you go. If you don't have to leave, then keep going with your mnemonics because it's a process and you don't want it to be a rush job. But in some situations, you just got to leave. Now, the next P is going to be process. That's important because you have to figure people out. Now, this lady or man or whoever said something really mean to you. You're not just going to walk up to somebody, just start here, you know. You have to process. What is this person like? Kind of feel them out a little bit. They're standing in the grocery line and you're trying to figure out, I don't know, what's the best approach to go to this person? Feel a person out, process your plan, how you plan to approach them. And it's relatively quick when you think about it because everything is happening again so fast. But definitely try to feel a person out and, fill out the situation and approach them accordingly. You'll know. You follow your gut, okay? The next step is going to be with your child. If your child is acting out, you want to intervene, okay? And intervention may actually come earlier, but for the sake of the word stop it, we're putting intervene in there at this point. But intervening is basically just getting your child under control. But if there's an issue, a situation that you're dealing with, intervene. Get your child on track as much as you can. And you know how much you can do, and you know what the outcome will be. So do your best and keep it moving. Your next I is going to be identify who's the problem. Is it your child or is it this adult? Your child with autism or an adult who's making assumptions about you. Now, if it's your child, I can see if this is a child who's in that restaurant running around collecting all the napkins and from the tables, even tables where people are sitting and taking all the silverware so they can build the fort. That's the child. That's a situation where you're identifying the child as a problem. But if your child's having a tantrum in the store and he's not bothering anybody, I mean, yeah, maybe he's saying some mean things, but your child is having a tantrum in the store. No one is being physically hurt or verbally harmed in any way. It's okay. It's okay. That is when you identify this person, this outsider, this man or woman who had a nerve to call you a piece of trash or whatever they called you. That is when you identify that person as the problem because They are the problem, and there is a solution for them, but you are going to get to that point. And that is your next step. T, you want to take action. Have your card readily available. You're going to give them that card. They're going to look at the card, and more than likely, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Of course you didn't know. You didn't know, but now you know. So that's the goal. Give them that card. Once they have the card, you're good. Now, there are some times when a person won't take the card. Well, what do? That's okay. They don't have to take the card. That's just an extra card that you have. But you still give it to them. And the reason you want to give it to them, and you can say it nicely. Say, oh, I just wanted to give you guys this because I think this will explain what's going on. Or, I just want to give you this card because I think that, you'll have a better understanding of what I'm dealing with. Anything. You don't even have to say anything. But, I choose to say something at least, just to kind of break the ice with a smile. But the reality is, you want to give this card to the person, even if they don't take it. And you give them the card. But what happens when you give a person something? Their first response is to look at it. When they look at the card, all you want them to see is, my child has autism. That's enough right there. They can give you the card back after that. It doesn't matter. You've already gotten your message across. If you didn't get that far, then the least you can say if they don't take the card from you in a nice, and that's why you want that smile, a nice way. You say, oh, okay, no problem. I just wanted to let you know that my son has autism and he's having some difficulty adjusting to certain things in the environment, like you. Don't say that, just kidding. But really, let them know that, your child does have autism. And it's important that they do know, because that will leave an everlasting impression on them about your child and about autism. And I guarantee you, they will never forget you, because you have actually stood up and put them in their place in a very nice way. Now, the last T is going to be, and I'm trying to hold my cat. Cat, come on, Moses. Come and say hi to the audience. He wants to say hello. He's so sweet. This is Moses. He's such a big cat. He's so big and he's so sweet, and he's just moldable. He's such a sweetie pie. Oh, I love him, love him, love him. So your next T, your next letter is your letter T, and that is going to be to treat yourself. Your next letter is going to be to treat yourself, because you did something great. You gave something that no one can ever take away from a person. Knowledge. You gave them some knowledge. You taught them about autism and what it looks like. So if they've never seen a child before with autism, they just did, and they learned something new. Something they'll never forget, and it's a piece of knowledge that they will probably hold forever, because now they know what autism kind of looks like. Maybe not fully, because the spectrum is so wide, but they had a glimpse. And I bet you anything, they will think twice before they make a snide remark again about a mother who's dealing with a behavioral child. So, with that being said, your next step, like I said, is to treat yourself. Now, I'm not saying go out on a shopping spree or go buy a new car. You want to get yourself something special. And maybe a piece of chocolate. Oh, my cat, he's just like too much. Come here, Moses. Get yourself a piece of chocolate. Something special, so that you can say to yourself, oh, I did it. So something special for you, piece of chocolate, anything. Now, I want to let you guys know that I am going to be developing some cards, and here's a sample of the front and back of one of the cards. It's still in the very early stages, so we're not there yet. But I am going to be making these cards available. I'm going to have a couple of different styles for you to choose from. And I will have them on my website. I'll have them in on Instagram. I'll have a picture inside of, all my social media sites. So you can go on there and you can kind of look and see which one you like the best. And if you are interested in purchasing some cards for yourself, I'll try to get you a good deal, and you'll have enough to just hand out whenever needed, okay? So yeah, so guys, today, this is really what my video was about. It was just really about learning how to handle people who are rude, disrespectful, and totally inconsiderate of your autistic child, and the importance of being able to educate them about the matter, because knowledge is power, and we want power. So guys, that's the end of this video. I thank you so much for watching. Again, guys, please support me. I need subscribers. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the post notification bell so that you will be able to know when I drop a brand new video on YouTube. And make sure you also follow me on all of my socials. You will find them in the description box down below. And please, guys, check out my other videos as well. Okay? So until next time, peace.